Good morning. Just now we have done with potential, and potential what we define is work done per unit charge. Alright, so this potential, the unit of potential, SI unit is what we define as joule per coulomb. This is SI unit of potential, right? So just now we find our potential due to a point charge. So just two small recapitulation. Potential due to point charge is defined by Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R. Alright, R is point distance between where you are going to find potential and charge Q. So this is what we talk about so far. So now what we are going to do is we are done with the potential due to a point charge. Now I am going to find our potential due to dipole. Alright, so potential due to dipole. Potential due to dipole. Due to dipole. Alright. So what I'm going to do here is I just take a dipole. Let's say I take a dipole. Let's say this is positive charge Q, this is negative charge Q, and the distance of separation is 2a. Alright, and O is point of origins. This is center O is taken as origins. So just right here, I take up dipole of a charge Q, and A is the distance of separations, or 2A is the distance of separations. And this dipole is defined by dipole moments. P is equal to 2AQ. This is a dipole moment. So therefore, this is going to be a dipole moment P. And we would like to find out potential at point P. We would like to find out potential at point P. So to find potential at point P. And where is the point P? Point P with the positive vector R. So this is what I have here. Alright, this is R. Distance is R. Point P, the distance is R from center O origin. So this is what I have. So I'll just write it straight. Okay, so this is what we are going to find out. And now I would like to draw this. Let's say this is R1, this is R2. So I'm going to take this condition here. The distance between dipole and a point P, if R, let's say R is very, very big compared to 2A. Alright. The 2A is the distance of separations, and R is the distance between the origin and the dipole is huge. So since this is the condition, therefore this R1, R2, R3s are parallel. These lines are almost parallel. This is approximation, right? This is approximation, right? This is approximation. Let's say I just say this angle theta. Why I say these three lines are parallel? Why? Well, this is the condition. Very, very important. This is the condition. Alright? Since I is very, very big compared to 2A, so therefore this all three lines appears parallel. Alright? So this is what I have. Now what I'm going to do is I'll find what is potential at the point P due to a positive charge, what is potential at the point P due to negative charge, and I just sum up, right? So I say potential at potential at P due to positive charge. This is the potential at point P due to positive charge is defined by Q by 4 pi epsilon naught R1. So this is potential at point P due to positive charge. I write here potential at P due to positive charge. Then this is potential at P due to negative charge. So just now I told you that for negative charge potential is negative. So therefore I write here potential at P due to minus Q. And now what is potential at point P? So potential at point P, potential at point P, point P, that is Vp is equal to V plus V minus. This is the potential. I add up. This is just the algebraic sum of potential due to a positive charge and potential due to negative charge. So this is what I have here. This is P. What is V plus? This is Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R1 minus Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R2. So this is what I have. Alright. And now look at here. I just write here. This distance is what I call as delta R, which is equal to R2 minus R1. This is delta R, which is equal to R2 minus R1. Alright, so this is what I have. So now look at here. Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught 1 by R1 minus 1 by R2. This is what I have. Okay. Now I will solve these equations. Vp is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R2 minus R1 divided by R1 R2. So this, now I have to solve this. So what is R2 minus R1? This is the problem, right? How to find out R2 minus R1? How to find out R2 minus R1? How to find out R2 minus R1? So this is what I have. This is alright. So this is going to be a hypotenuse. This is going to be a base. This is also a theta. What is the theta? Theta is an angle substantially between position vector and diagonal. This is what theta. Theta is the angle between. I just write here. Theta is angle between P and R. Alright. So now, so therefore what is R2 minus R1? R2 minus R1 is going to be, alright, 2a cos theta. I'll tell you why it is 2a cos theta. What is cos theta? Cos theta is equal to base divided by hypotenuse. What is base? R2 minus R1. What is hypotenuse? 2a, and this is how we got it. Alright. So therefore now my expression goes like this. Vp is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught 2a cos theta divided by R1 R2. Now again I would like to do one more approximation. My approximation is R1 is almost equal to R. Why? Because again the reason is the distance A is very small. And R2 is almost equal to R. So therefore this is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught 2a cos theta divided by R square. Okay. Then this is equal to 2aq cos theta divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This is what I have. Now look at here. What is 2aq? 2aq is a p. 2aq is equal to p. This is a dipole moment. So therefore, Vp is equal to p cos theta divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This is cos theta, right? So this is the expression, right? This can be written as a p dot r cap, alright, divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This can be written. So this is the final expression. So now, unlike potential due to a point charge, now it is defined by dipole moment. When we talk about a point charge, it is defined by a charge. That is what we have here. This is equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Now here it is defined by dipole moment. That is given by P. Okay. So this is what I have. And theta is the angle between P and R. So this is what we have. So this is finally, I write here P cos theta divided by 4 pi epsilon naught r square. This is the final expression. This is the final expression. So unlike point charge, so I will make we have a little contrast between make some differences between point charge and dipoles. So dipole we have this. For point charge we have this, right? So dipole potential is defined by dipole moment, and for point charge potential is defined by a positive charge Q. Anyway, the dipole, the net charge is going to be 0. Therefore, potential is defined by dipole moment. And now for dipole, potential is inverse square of a distance, and distance has to be always taken from origin, that is center of dipole. That we have done in chapter number 1. And in case of this is going to be 1 by r. Now in case of a point charge, there is no angle, right? So in case of a dipole, it is also defined by angle theta, right? So this is also defined by angle theta. So this is also affected by cos theta. Alright. So having this, now I would like to write a few conditions for few cases, right? In case of a dipole due to potential due to dipole, so that is, look at here, for theta is equal to 0. If theta is 0, it is the point along axis. This is the point on axis. This is point on the axis of dipole. Axis of dipole. If theta is 0, then dipole moment would potential due to dipole is going to be P 4 pi epsilon naught r square. Why? Because cos 0 is equal to 1. Now I say if theta is equal to 90 degree, this is the point on equatorial plane. Point on equatorial plane. Equatorial plane. So therefore Vp is going to be 0. Reason is that cos 90 is equal to 0. That is very important. So there is no potential at a point on an equatorial plane. Why? Because this is the simple reason, right? Let's say I have here, this is a positive charge, this is a negative charge, this is the origin. I take this is the point on equatorial plane, and this positive potential due to this and negative potential due to this two cancel each other. Why? Because distances are same, potentials are opposite. So therefore V is equal to V plus V minus is going to be 0. Why? Because two potentials are equal and opposite. This is the reason, right? So therefore you don't get any potential at a point on an equatorial plane. Now, if theta is 180 degree, again on an equatorial plane, theta is 180 degree, then potential would be equal to, again this is on an equatorial plane but in opposite directions. So this is going to be P minus P. Why? Because of course 180 is equal to minus 1. So these are the three cases, alright, we have in case of dipole. But in case of point charge, there is nothing like, you know, the electric field or potential due to a point charge doesn't depend on our positions, right? We just fix at one positions and that's how it is, right? But then in case of a dipole, if you choose a different points with the same distance, you get a different potential. But for a point charge, if you choose a different positions with the equal distance, potential will remain same. So therefore, there is no factor of force, no cos theta factors. I just write something. No cos theta factors. So this is in case of a potential due to dipoles. All right. So this is what I have. Now what I am going to do is potential due to a system of charge. Potential due to a system of charge. Potential due to system of charge. So we have studied like potential due to a point charge, and then potential due to a dipole, and finally we find potential due to a system of charge. System of charge in a sense, I take so many charge, right? Potential due to a system of charge. Let's say a potential due to a system of charge. Potential due to system of charge. Okay, then now let's say I consider a system of charge. Let's say I say Q1 defined by a position vector R1, Q2 defined by a position vector R2, and Q3 defined by a position vector R3, and finally I choose a Q4 with position vector R4. Let's say I just consider a system of charge. Say consider a system of charge Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, so on, with position vector R1, R2, R3, R4, so on respectively. So why I call position vector means the position vector defines the position of a point charge with respect to origin, right? So now what am I going to do is to find potentials, to find potential at P due to Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, so on. Alright, so I'm going to choose point P, something like this. This is a point P. Alright, so let's find out potential like this, right? So I have this distance is R1P. Let's say this distance is R2P. This distance is R3P. This distance is R4P. Unlike electric field, it is much easier. Reason is that since the potential is a scalar quantity, we don't need to bring a vector, right? So it is simply a distance. It is simply a distance, right? So now let's say, so how to find out? I'll find out potential due to a point charge, or potential at a P due to every individual charge, and I just sum up, right? So algebraic sum. So algebraic sum of all these, right? So what to do is now, what is potential at the P due to charge 1 is given by 4 pi epsilon naught R1P. This is the potential at the point P due to point charge Q1. And now this is potential due to Q2, and this is potential due to Q3, and this is potential due to Q4, so on, right? Since I have a 4 charge, I just write up to 4, right? So, what is the total charge of potential at P? This can be defined as 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Simple, right? So, A dot. So, this is the easier in case of potential dielectric. Electric field, again we have to do a vector sum, right? This little and you have to use a parallelogram law of vector addition. So here it is just simply algebraic sum, alright? And last time I told you what is algebraic sum, right? 4 pi epsilon naught R1 plus Q2 R1P, I'm sorry, 4 pi epsilon naught R2P plus 4 pi epsilon naught R3P this is what we have. Alright, now I sum up. If I just sum, this is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. I'm going to put a summation, right? Alright, I is equal to 1 up to n. If I have an n charge, then Qi divided by RIP. So this is the final expression. This is the final expression. This is the final expression. You can have an n number of charge and we can easily find out. This is summation. So this is how it goes. First I will find the potential at a point P due to our first charge, this, then individually, that is what we call a superposition principle, alright, and then finally I add up all, alright, finally I add up all. The result could be 0 also. Why? Because if I have a 4 charge with different sign, with the equal distance, then this could be, right. So I'll give you one example, right? Let's say I have, this is a square, I have Q1, let's say Q1 is equal to minus Q, Q2 is equal to plus Q, Q3 is equal to minus Q, Q4 is equal to plus Q. So what is potential at the center of this square? What is potential at the center of this square? All will have a same potential, right? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and this is going to be 0. Why? Because this potential cancel out with this potential, and this potential cancel out with that potential. Total potential would be 0. So this is the one case. So therefore, it is not necessary that if I add up for different potential, we should have some net potential. Net potential could be 0, right? So this is what we have defined. Okay, so this is what I have, and then one more I would like to inform you is, let's say I take a charged spherical shell. I take a charged spherical shell. Why? Because this topic is very related to next topic. I take a charged spherical shell. I take a charged spherical shells. I have a positive charge. And I say, what is potential outside? I choose a point like, this is point P, and then I choose another point, this, let's say I just say point number 1 and point number 2. This distance is R1, this distance is R2. So, position for R1 which is more than R is the radius of charged spherical shell. Radius of charged spherical shells. Then the potential would be Q divided by Q is the charge of this entire charged spherical shell, epsilon naught R1. Okay, and now what about let's say I choose a R which is equal to capital R, that is on the surface. This is outside, this is outside, this is on the surface, this is on the surface. What is on the surface? V2 is going to be, let's say V is going to be Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught capital R. Now my point is, what about inside? Alright, so if since R2 is less than R, now how much is potential inside? Alright, so that is keep in mind. Potential inside, this is inside, would be equal to Q divided by 4 pi epsilon naught R. This you should keep in mind. Alright, so electric field inside charged spherical shell is 0. Alright, however potential is not 0 and potential is this, which is equal to potential on the surface, which is equal to potential on the surface, which is equal to potential on the surface. Alright, so potential on the surface and potential inside charged spherical shells are equal, right? No matter where you choose, right? You can choose any point inside charged spherical shell, potential will remain potential on the surface. Alright, so when you look outside, what we feel is all the charge, entire charge is concentrated, appear to be concentrated at center. Alright, so that's the one very important concept, right? So even in case of arc also, when we just had an object about arc surface, we feel that the entire mass of arc is appear at the center. Same concept goes with potential also, right? So with this, I have done with potential. Now I have done with potential. So next class I am going to do potential energy. Thank you.